the hottest new outfit in American politics. I'm referring, of course, to the Lincoln Project. I don't know, maybe you've seen their ads, and if there's one thing the entire political media can agree on, it's how scathing, witty, and effective this new group's ads being run against Donald Trump are, and how devastating they're going to be for this fall. So I think it would behoove us to take a closer look at who is the Lincoln Project, and for the purposes of this episode, I'm going to be referring to them as the Project for a New American Lincoln.
Yeah, you guys, if you watch TV, if you watch the shows on MSNBC, if you're constantly like clicking on news stories about how Propecia gives you dementia or whatever, you're getting ads for the Lincoln Project. You're seeing them while you scroll. And we all love the ads. We all think the ads are like funny and poignant. We've seen the one ad, gay president, where it superimposes the word gay guy over Donald Trump giving speeches.
Devastating.
And then just like flashes a picture of Osama bin Laden and then plays a clip of Donald Trump in 2007 saying, "I would never be a gay guy." And then it goes, "Who's the gay guy now?" And that's been retweeted 300 million times. These are really good ads. These are good ads, and it's the sort of minds that like took down guys like Max Cleland, and they're being put to a good use now. But unfortunately, the creators are kind of yikes, as we say.
Hey, you remember how effective that ad against Max Cleland was when they were like, "This pussy lost 3 limbs by accident in Vietnam. Loser." It's the minds behind projects like that, but they're working on our side now.
Mm-hmm.
They're on team anti-Trump, team Biden, and like the Pod Save guys were gushing about these ads. And
Pfeiffer, I hate to join in with the conventional wisdom crowd largely who love this ad, but I thought it was a terrific spot.
I think the one that I saw was called Morning in America. Morning spelled MOURNING instead of morning.
There's morning in America. Today, more than 60,000 Americans have died from a deadly virus Donald Trump ignored. With the economy in shambles, more than 26 million Americans are out of work, the worst economy in decades. Trump bailed out Wall Street, but not Main Street. This afternoon, millions of Americans will apply for unemployment, and with their savings run out, many are giving up hope. Millions worry that a loved one won't survive COVID-19. There's mourning in America, and under the leadership of Donald Trump, our country is weaker and sicker and poorer. And now, Americans are asking, if we have another 4 years like this, will there even be an America?
Because it's like, 100,000 people have died under Trump. And and it's just like people are clapping like seals for this shit because it's like, finally, like Democrats have long felt bedeviled by like, God, how do we fight these devastating attack ads? Well, now all the guys that have been creating those ads for as long as you've been alive are on our side now. And by our side now, I mean they're going to be running the Biden administration and the DNC, because should Biden get elected, I think these guys are going to take all the credit for it, and as such are just going to be given the keys to the Democratic Party. So let's look at who these guys are. Who are your guys, Lincoln Project? Well, let's go to their website here. The website is just if you go to the About Us or Our Team, it says, the founders of the Lincoln Project have spent over 200 years electing Republicans, but now they've sparked a nationwide movement with a singular mission: to defeat Donald Trump and Trumpism. Now, they say the mission is to defeat Donald Trump and Trumpism, but what's unspoken is the idea that they are going to replace it with just what the Republican Party was up until the primaries 2016.
Yeah, it'll be the Kasich.
It'll
be like, what if we'd gotten the Kasich administration we'd always dreamed of?
I think the best article I've been able to find that I think gives you really the best handle on who these people are and what their deal is in Vanity Fair by Caleb Akarma. Headline: It had been my personal mission to have him call me a loser. Meet the Lincoln Project video whiz whose ads are driving Trump insane. He's not a resistance superstar like Rick Wilson and George Conway, but Tea Party veteran Ben Howe is the creative force behind the anti-Trump super PAC, pissing off the president, ideally convincing disillusioned Republicans to vote Biden. Do you guys remember Ben Howe at all?
I do, yeah. Ben Howe was one of the most divorced OG conservatives on Twitter.
Yes.
He was like, like all of these guys. If you go back to his post in 2014, he's like, if Trayvon had attacked me while I was wearing my suit of armor, I would have cut his limbs off. I would have dropped a howitzer on Trayvon's house. And then in 2016, they're like, "Oh, I just don't have a career anymore. I can act grossed out by Trump." But also, unlike a lot of these guys in 2016, Ben Howe was publicly divorced by his wife while battling the Trump trolls. So that was a
I was
good
gonna say,
thing.
what I remember about Ben Howe is, aside from his bog standard repellent right wing takes circa 4 years ago, I think his political conversion to being anti-Trump happened in the 2016 election, when I guess he was taking it more seriously than others were, like in his crusade against Trump. And the MAGA alt-right people found his old tweets where he talks about how his wife divorced him in Starbucks, and then just that became their thing on him.
That happened during his campaign against Trump. That was that was awesome.
I gotta say, I'm not that interested in Ben Howe. I'm much more interested in the Ben why. Like why is he like that? Because the Howe is owned by trolls and divorced in Starbucks, but I want to know why.
Okay, so the Ben why is someone took the Matt Forney gene and sort of they did the thing where you give your Sims money, and that's why Ben looks like that. You do the
Umbrella Corporation.
Yeah, the infinite money.
The Umbrella
cheat.
Corporation the Umbrella Corporation got some filings from the inside of Matt Forney's mouth, and then turned it into the G virus, which is and that's the Ben Howe prototype.
We've isolated the getting divorced genome. If you think we're being too mean to Ben Howe, literally every post he had before 2016 was I want to make a time machine to kill Michael Brown myself. Awful guy.
Yeah, just a sick puppy getting off on the idea of racialized murder. But then the trolls, that's the real awfulness. That's the real horror.
No, that's literally it. That is literally the origin story of all these guys. They're as long as any of this shit was disconnected from them, they were just jacking off to the idea of murdering a black 17-year-old. And look at all of Rick Wilson's shit. Look at all these guys' shit.
Yeah,
and then the moment someone's like, "Hey, you ugly pussy, your wife looks like shit," they're like, "America is built in the blood of racism, and racism is the thing that we must fight, the thing I've always been against."
Because you're being mean to me.
Yeah.
Let's go into Caleb's piece, because I think this does give the best summary of what the Lincoln Project, who they are and what they're about. So beginning here, it says, prior to Donald Trump's 1 a.m. Twitter rant last month, raging against a group of rhino Republican loser types at the so-called Lincoln Project, Ben Howe, a video editor and one of the top creative minds behind the Super PAC's notorious anti-Trump ads, had avoided...
Dude, notorious with who? Shut the fuck up! God, this is remember when we watched that Roger Stone documentary and all of these lanyard dicks were just stunned by what a character he was? And it's literally just you met one person who wasn't just made out of Dockers, and your fucking monocle popped out because you're amazed at the texture of their personality. It's the same thing. These ads this is hot fire. It's you watch the fucking you watch those Danish train movies where it's just a GoPro strapped to the cow catcher of a train for 15 hours. Of course you think this is cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I also watch the Danish train movies, Matt, and I think they're a lot more dynamic than any shit that Ben Howe is farting out for this. I like that he's described as the top creative mind. It's just what a low bar to clear in that fucking group of people. Rick Wilson's creative endeavors prior to this were, running dog whistle racism political campaigns and bragging about how he could field strip a M16 rifle blindfolded. I mean, like, A, that's bullshit, and B, like, he's a psycho. He's a psycho right-wing Republican. But I think, I mean, like, I'm going to give away where I'm going with this is, like, all these guys are on the outs because, like, they went too far with the Never Trump thing, and then because of, like, unlike, Rich Lowry or, like, that whole crew, like, they have something inside them that, like, their feelings of shame and cuckoldry would be too much to come crawling back to Trump. So they've done the next best thing, which is basically take over the Democratic Party, who is like the softest target imaginable and is going to welcome them right into the fold.
Well, I mean, the thing is it's not.
They've just been dying to do this.
It's a mutual thing, though. Like, these guys aren't really doing a Trojan horse move. I mean, I think they're Trojan horsing it for the rubes. But at the toppest level, I mean, I remember in 2016 we talked about how the long-term strategy of the Democratic Party under the Clintons was to turn the Democratic Party into the party of the new global capitalism and leave the rump of basically just white middle-class voters, like white, older, grievance-riddled suburbanites, to Trump. And then they would have everybody else under a banner of woke finance capitalism. And this, like, Biden is just going to actually do what they thought they were going to do. And in fact, having Trump in there for 4 years ended up helping their project significantly. Problem is that the Clintons were not able to actually enjoy the benefit of it. They were like Moses. They brought the DNC to the promised land of assimilating everything that wasn't, the MAGA rump into one party, but sadly too late for them to enjoy it.
I mean, I think this has been the dream of it's like this was the Clinton project, this is the DLC project, and I think this has been the dream of like sort of like the DC elite, or like the intellectual elite, like the whatever you want to call it, the foreign policy and policy ruling class, whatever you want to call them. They're going to get their dream come true with this Lincoln project, because should it work, what they will be left with is a party, the Democratic Party, which will be indistinguishable from what the Republican Party would have been had John McCain or Mitt Romney been able to win. And crucially, if they had been able to win and that in a way that would make it so that they wouldn't have to pander for the votes of evangelicals. And if that were be able to accomplish, this is like the policy dream of like every DC establishment thinker for the last probably 40 years. It's like they want all the Republican policies as far as it comes to empire and Wall Street and gutting unions and the New Deal and the social safety net and getting rid of all that. But they don't want the embarrassment of having to pitch it to a group of people who think the world is 5,000 years old.
Well, and also beyond embarrassment, just there is take immigration, for example. There is a cross-party consensus for liberal immigration along a line that maintains like a second-class citizenship or like a second-class position for guest workers or whatever. Like that was the Bush vision of immigration reform that is broadly acceptable to every level of like high-level capital, but that is genuinely rejected by this grumpy bunch of old white people. And if you don't have to split the difference with them, if you don't have to keep doing things like nominating Donald Trump to get them to stop teething about the fact that America's manufacturing base has been completely gutted, then you're in the perfect situation to be able to just carry out something that will not get any pushback from the broad woke culture because it's in opposition to the racial panic and xenophobia of the Trump GOP, but which at the end of the day just serves the interests of employers.
So like continuing with this piece here, it says, Howe told me during a phone interview, referencing a viral Lincoln Project spot blasting the Trump administration's handling of the coronavirus pandemic. Once he did that, well, it had been my personal mission to have him call me a loser someday. So I was like, okay, I can't stay quiet anymore. I love that from Ben Howe, because it's like his mission in life is to get called a loser by bigger and more powerful people. Because it's just like spending your entire career being called a loser by everyone online is one thing, but the president of the United States, hey, buddy, you've arrived. You've arrived. You've made the loser Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Ben Howe is like, he wants to live his whole life that way, just getting called a loser by everyone. And then in his final moments, his life flashes before his eyes. He sees different chain restaurants that his wife left him at throughout the years, different wives. And then he arrives at the pearly gates, and St. Peter says, Homo says what? It's the culmination of it all.
Yeah, no, it's just like if your wife's boyfriend thinks you're a loser, you're just waiting to come back and be like, guess what? You agree with the president, President Trump. How do you feel about that, buddy? It's just he's adding the president to the list of like Pilates instructors, scuba teachers, and online denizens. So it says here, like the Lincoln Project, dog's just biting him every time he reaches his hand down. Like the Lincoln Project's other members, Howe, the creative mind, video editor, and he said sometimes narrating voice on many of the group's ads, spent years supporting conservative policies and working on various Republican campaigns. In December, in an effort to help ensure Trump doesn't win a second term, Howe joined forces with Rick Wilson, a Defense Department appointee under then Secretary Dick Cheney. Okay, yeah, Rick Wilson, again, that's who we're talking about here. Defense Department appointee under Secretary Dick Cheney.
By far the least talented Beach Boy.
And GOP strategists who contributed to Rudy Giuliani's winning mayoral ad campaigns.
Which were just pure racial panic.
Yes.
Yeah,
Giuliani got elected.
The Giuliani ads were literally like, what if you woke up one day and your son was black? What if they replaced your wife with a black guy? What would you do then? What if you became Puerto Rican?
Rick Wilson's his Giuliani super PAC was called "They're No Angels" PAC. Okay, and then we got, of course, George Conway, another little shame piggy who loves being humiliated by the president. I mean, like, this is a collection of guys who just essentially like being cucked by Donald Trump, but they're going to make a big show of sort of sticking up for themselves. I mean, George Conway. Did you see the thing where his daughter was going at him on Twitter this week?
Yeah,
oh God!
It's like it's not just his wife, but his kid is just like, fuck you, loser! Shut the fuck up, you bitch, motherfucker.
That exchange was the absolute, like, people wonder why I'm terrified of the Zoomers. That's why. His daughter's just like, fuck you, to her own dad on under the gaze of the entire DC press corps, just like, fuck you, bitch.
That was
Fuck
awesome
you.
too. That was awesome too, because like all the replies to it were like lupus mom for Joe being like, your dad is doing a great service to the country. You have to respect him.
I don't gotta do shit, bitch.
Yeah, shut up, bitch. No, that was awesome.
George Conway, a Washington attorney and husband of top Trump aide Kellyanne Conway, who in 2017 was considered for a number of Justice Department posts before turning on the White House. I mean, again, like, what does it tell you about this guy that up until a couple years ago, he could have been working for fucking just William Barr at Trump's Justice Department? And then, I don't know, like, what soured him on Trump? That's what I want to know.
It sounds like because he didn't hire him.
Yeah, Steve Schmidt, a top strategist for George W. Bush's 2004 bid. Hey, you remember George W. Bush's 2004 campaign where they tried to get by on the disaster that the Iraq War was by convincing everyone that terrorists were going to strike at any moment and that gay people were coming to convert your children? Remember that? That was the brainchild of him, Steve Schmidt. He was also operations chief for John McCain's 2008 presidential campaign and campaign manager for Arnold Schwarzenegger's 2000 re-election bid for California governor.
He also looks like a bar of roller deodorant.
Yeah, this is a very hairless gang.
These
motherfuckers. These guys all look like those like British middle-aged guys who just punch each other at pubs.
Yeah. The Lincoln Project was founded when a group of 10 friends had a sleepover at Chernobyl. The social club of guys who don't have cancer but drink chemotherapy fluid just for fun because they like how it tastes.
And finally, we've got on the masthead, John Weaver, the chief strategist for John Kasich's 2016 presidential campaign. So this was John Weaver. That was like America's top hobo wrangler. I mean, nobody can tie a bindle like this guy, John Weaver. Considered turncoats.
John Weaver was paid $400,000 a year to read little dashes on fence posts and see where the candidate could say
where he could eat a sandwich without having dogs turned on him.
So just being interviewed by Chris Matthews. So the big problem we ran into in New Hampshire was a dishonest man lived in a lot of these houses.
There were no victuals to be found at all.
I always like the Kasich versus Cruz storyline because Ted Cruz does seem like a guy from the 1800s who just killed hobos. Like if you weren't homeless then, you could just kill hobos and it wasn't really illegal.
Oh yeah, this is a recreational activity.
Yeah.
19th century Ted Cruz had a pie cooling on his windowsill all the time, and it was just like a hummingbird feeder for proto Kasichs, just wandering in and then being hit in the back of the head with a pickaxe while they tuck in.
Yeah, no, he did have the vibe of the murderer from 200 years ago.
So it says here, considered turncoats due to their shared opposition to Trump, the group united under the name of Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president, and formed a super PAC with the explicit goal of preventing Trump from being reelected by swaying swing voters and moderate Republicans and pissing him off in the process. Howe first honed his skills as an ad creator working for the anti-Obama Tea Party movement. He launched his political ad-making career after his business, a trademark research firm, went under during the recession. In 2010, he created a video promoting the Tea Party for Red State, a conservative website where his brother Caleb Howe wrote at the time. Following the clip's semi-viral success, Howe was contracted by FreedomWorks, a Koch-founded advocacy group that played a major role in astroturfing the Tea Party wave. For another video, his success, he said, resulted in him working with the Heritage Foundation on video proposals of their own. His new company, Mr. Smith Media, which he told me is named after the 1939 political dramedy starring Jimmy Stewart, went on to craft online clips and ads for Ted Cruz's inaugural Senate campaign, which has arguably proven to be the Tea Party's most enduring success in Washington. Oh boy, this is your new Democratic Party, people. In subsequent years, Howe told me his company continued to make videos for Heritage, National Review, and Senator John Cornyn. He didn't predict, nor was he prepared for the rise of Trump, but for him it represented a breaking point. During the 2016 election, he vowed to phone bank for Hillary Clinton if Trump won the nomination. He subsequently created an Oppo documentary about Trump campaign titled The Sociopath. In January of that year, before I even left the party, he said. His defection, he said, made him highly unpopular in his former circles. I like that before his defection, I'm sure he was very popular among all political groups.
Yeah, he was notorious for hogging all the pussy.
I just like, what does it say about like what absolute suckers the pod safe guys are, that like a guy who was hated by everyone and like all he has to do is just one viral ad and you're like, this guy's got something.
Yeah, I mean, even if you were like an earnest like loser liberal Democrat, it's like, wouldn't you just want these guys to go away forever? It's not like just because, like, a bunch of other fucking losers will rise up and take their place in the Trump GOP, but at least one of your tormentors, one of your enemies is gone. He's a loser. He's out of the game. He has to, like, go make ads in Omaha, Nebraska. He has to do the Saul Goodman, but for political ads. And his life sucks. He feels bad. He probably, like, puts one of those like Joker bang guns in his mouth every day. You should like feel good, but instead it's like no, we're pulling you back from drowning in the loser pond.
But that's
like,
they're always going to do that though, because remember we talked about on the episode where we talked about Dan Pfeiffer's book. For these people, the pool of voters is static, and their job is try to get marginal Republicans to agree with them. And so anytime a Republican says, I agree with the Democrats on this, they calm themselves to death because that's the sum total of their notion of politics. Getting a Republican to agree with them and work for them instead of destroying him, having them work with them, that's the real victory. That's the sense of, we've done it. We've got these bald fucks on our side now instead of opposing us, and that means we won.
It's also like, I mean, it's obviously the grand Democratic design of owning the presidency, never having control of both seats or both houses of Congress because you don't want to have the onus on you to actually do anything.
No.
That's the perfect world for them.
Yep.
But I think for the Dan Pfeiffer type specifically, for these guys specifically who, like, I've met normie Democrats who actually do want the Democrats to own Congress, the executive branch, all this shit. This isn't what they are. The Dan Pfeiffer types have to believe that the job of making political ads and being a political consultant is like a mystical profession that you can be incredibly skilled at. It's the same reason why there are all those fucking stupid articles in 2016 and 17 about like the dark genius of Steve Bannon. Because the only way that someone could have beat them is if they were like an otherworldly Rasputin like genius. They have to believe that this job is not only important, but incredibly difficult, and not that they're just all they didn't have the qualifications to make ads for Gillette.
And outside of like electoral math or any of the sort of the actual party members and their agenda and ideology, for like the average Democrat, I just think like that there's such easy marks for this, because I think they like nothing more than the idea that like, oh well, if Bill Kristol, if someone is like Bill Kristol is agreeing with me, then like we must be right. Like, and who can argue with it's incontrovertible like how right we are, that like even X, Y, and Z are now on our side, or they're willing to say Trump is a threat to the republic. It's just like it's catnip to them.
They love it.
Like I said, and like guys like Bill Kristol. I mean, like during the George W. Bush years was the intellectual architect of the Iraq War, and let's just say he was very high on my Walter White list.
I mean, remember the West Wing first season when Ainsley Hayes, the little proto Coulter, owns Sam Seaborn on a show. How does the White House get back at her? Destroy her. Hired her. Just smothered her with kindness and just showed, actually, these guys, we love America just as much as Republicans do. They just want to be validated by daddy.
Going on here, it says, it's rare to see a political ad that says widely praised, decried, and covered as a Lincoln Project spot. One reason for the group's rapid rise is their weaponization of Trump's own language against him, a willingness to get down in the kind of dirt that many Democratic ads won't touch. In one recent spot titled #TrumpIsNotWell, the Lincoln Project zoomed in on clips of the president struggling to walk down a ramp and drink a glass of water with one hand. In a script reminiscent of the Trump campaign's mockery of Joe Biden's health and Hillary Clinton's before him, an ominous voice can be heard calling Trump shaky and weak, questioning his secretive midnight run to Walter Reed Medical Center, and announcing something's wrong with Trump. The Lincoln Project has spent significantly less than PACs receiving comparable levels of media attention, a reported $2.75 million in TV ads and $1.2 million in Facebook ads thus far, but it makes it up for it with ostensibly out-of-bounds shots. And like this is getting to another aspect of this about like, people crowing about how effective these ads are because they're using the Republican playbook against the Republicans. And like, this has bedeviled Democrats forever. Like, back when Bernie seemed like a real thing, I mean, like their biggest fear that they would psych themselves out with, sincerely or not, would be like, oh, can you just imagine the ads Republicans are going to run against him? Oh God. And, it's like making an ad about how Trump's not well and like, not physically and mentally ready to be president. That's like the Rove tactic of going at your opponent with like your biggest weakness.
Yeah.
Like, they're flacking for Joe Biden here, folks.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, this is just part and parcel of like, all these guys came out of like the Russiagate stuff too. Rick Wilson was on MSNBC every day, pushing that, line about how Trump is a traitor and a foreign agent, to the hilt. And the point is, it's just like, it's not a sign of success if all the ads that you like and think are so successful and effective rely on premises that aren't 100% right wing. It's just like, this is what I mean about how like this is the Democratic Party now is just what the Republican Party was 10 years ago. Because it's just like, if all of your premises, if you're going to cede the entire field of like your vision of politics in the world to John McCain and George W. Bush's political inner circle and policy political teams, then what point? Like, I mean, why even run for president? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Mitt Romney's healthcare plan? Oh wait, Obama did that.
You want to be a steward. You want to be a responsible steward of empire, unlike feckless Donald. I mean, he's a Cheeto, for God's sakes. You need an actual human in president. It doesn't matter what they believe. They have to not be a snack food.
Howe, who described his efforts right now as the most fulfilling and important of my life. That's correct. I don't even need to fact check that. I know that's sincere and true. Acknowledged the satisfaction he feels when his creations start getting to Trump. At the personal level, our work has two tracks for me. One is definitely, haha, he has said. The other track is electoral. The goal to make one person who has been on the fence or feel like they could never vote for a Democrat or isn't sure about this or that, to just at the very least make them pause and consider that they don't have to be a slave to a binary choice. They don't have to make decisions solely on what one party or another tells them. They can actually just stop, back up, and think for themselves. He hopes those kinds of Republican voters are forced to stop and ask, is this the person someone I'm okay with? Would I have been okay with this guy being in charge in a true crisis like 9/11 when they watch his videos? And if you would be worried, he added, then I want to give somebody else pause to reconsider. Every Republican voter would be fine with Donald Trump being president on 9/11. You know how I know that? Because they were all fine with George W. Bush being president on 9/11, where he fucking read a book to kids and then disappeared for a good 36 hours before he showed up again when like nobody knew what was going on. Oh, and also presided over the single greatest breach of national security in the history of this country. So, I mean, this is the ultimate victory of the right wing, is that they've engineered a system, and, God, almost credit to them for doing it. It's almost impressive. But they've engineered a system in which they cannot lose. They can never, ever lose, because if this is what the Democrats are now, then this is their agenda. There's no way out of it, because as long as the Republican Party continues to morph into the Trump or blood and soil nationalist party of whatever's coming after him, as long as they're there, then the Democrats are just always going to be picking up the slack of becoming the thing that they were just 2 elections ago.
Well, it's because
but not even believing the same things, but employing the exact same people.
Because of the two different dynamics of the base and the party. The Republican Party is always terrified of and chasing where their base is, whereas the Democratic Party is always pulling away from what their base wants, which means that over time the Republicans will only go right, and that means the Democrats have to follow them. And that means that when they're in charge, they have to govern as Republicans, which increases the alienation of their own voters and pisses off right-wingers because it makes things worse, but they filter it through the cultural lens of the political parties rather than the actual policies that are bipartisan. And it guarantees that no one will ever come upon, there will never be a critical mass of people signing on to any left-wing challenge to the status quo, because it's just not, it's not viable, so people aren't even going to be able to conceive of it. Or if they do conceive of it, like Bernie Sanders tried to, it will be the majority of people, are even people who would believe in abstract with the proposals, will refuse to believe that they could be acceptable to the rest of the country because of the incredible warping factor of the party politics that pushes everything always eternally right, regardless of people's actual views on issues.
Yeah, I mean, and what's really further than that, though, really what I see happening here is okay, if you take for granted that a Joe Biden-led Democratic Party will be what a John McCain-led GOP would have been like had they been able to sever themselves from a socially conservative base and without having to pitch to the issues and speak the language of those voters. However, what they will replace it with is the exact inverse of the same culture war that functions in the exact same way, except it will be playing to frightened suburbanites, but with issues that are just these hysterical church lady denunciations of either Trump or white fragility shit, but it's the same culture war that will cover what really counts to these people, which is actual war.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the goal of these people and what you should look forward to in a Biden presidency.
Oh, he's letting you know. I mean, whoever's tweeting for him is out there saying it's on site. Venezuela, China, Russia. We're gonna a Biden presidency will be about remaking America's place in the world, and we all know what that means. A national greatness, conservatism.
Right. American global leadership, which is, Biden is kind of the perfect guy to do it, because the only way I can describe America's global leadership for the past 30 years is just an old guy wandering out of the frame of a Zoom call. Except instead of little trinkets and Werther's dropping out of his pocket, It's just like a pallet with $500 million, explosives, guns, and it just goes wherever. It goes wherever. You don't know where it goes. And then, there's a massacre of X amount of people in this version of Gladio, and you go, come on, man. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. And then repeat, done. We are the dementia empire.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it deals with grooming, and everyone knows Seeking Derangements started because of grooming. In the Chapo Discord, we just had to find 2 young impressionable
Absolutely.
men who we groomed into becoming podcasters for us. But no, this involves the Lincoln Project, or should I call it the Lincoln Grooming Project? Because the folks are doing a lot of grooming online. This is courtesy of the New York Times here. Headline is 21 men accuse Lincoln Project co-founder of online harassment. John Weaver, a longtime GOP operative who advised John McCain and John Kasich, made sexual overtures to young men, sometimes offering to help them get work in politics.
I see this like the grooming angle. I see it as a kind of fulfillment of their stated goal. Like they make all these appeals to return to like the sensible heyday of Republican politicians, and by those politicians they mean like Mike Foley and Larry Craig. We need leaders like that back in the room.
I was laughing about I was watching old Larry Craig stuff the other day, as I always do. I've talked about it a million times, but I was laughing about Larry Craig after he got caught, and his speech was like,
"Let me be clear. I am not gay. I never have been gay.
I am not, nor have I ever been a gay man." It's like,
it's that old overlap from like communist / homosexual. It's the "are you now or have you ever" kind of thing, because those always sort of, they had the same thing. And many times Huac would like go find like a Hollywood choreographer like Jerome Robbins and be like, if you don't name names, we'll tell everyone you're gay. And it's like, it's Jerome Robbins. He choreographed West Side Story. We all kind of know. But yeah, anyway, big overlap between the gays and the commies. Are you now or have you ever?
Well, there's some good details here in the New York Times. This is courtesy of Maggie Astor and Danny Hakam. It says here, John Weaver, a longtime Republican strategist and co-founder of the prominent anti-Trump group, the Lincoln Project, has for years sent unsolicited and sexually provocative messages online to young men, often while suggesting he could help get them work in politics, according to interviews with 21 men who received them. His solicitations included sending messages to a 14-year-old asking questions about his body while he was still in high school, and then more pointed ones after he turned 18. It says here, Mr. Weaver sent overt sexual solicitations to at least 10 of the men, and in the most explicit messages offered professional and personal assistance in exchange for sex. He told one man he would, quote, spoil you when we see each other, according to a message reviewed by the New York Times, help you other times, give advice, counsel, help with bills. You help me sensually.
My girl asked for a $1.2 million media buy in South Carolina. I give her $5 million and get her nails done. The fuck I look like. Sigh. Flew another 17-year-old out to the Heritage Foundation weekend getaway cruise, and he ghosted me and broke up with me. This is why I need to wife somebody up.
This seems like the easiest person in the world to catfish, actually. Right? Like, this person is not trying to cover their trail at all. They're very sloppy about being a pervert. How is he not wearing a barrel with suspenders at this point? Like,
because, well, with the first person to bring this up was Karl Rove, and it was in 2000. And people were like, oh, well, Karl Rove said a lot of bullshit before, and this is also like McCain versus Bush, so like whatever. And also, like in 2000, like Weaver was significantly more powerful, and reporters liked him. And it was like, yeah, we just shouldn't, we're not going to talk about this. Like, it is crazy culturally. Like, until about like 2012, I want to say, like most movies were about like a guy fucking a 15-year-old. Like the movie, like have you ever seen the movie Waiting? It's just like a lighthearted comedy from like 2009, and one of the major plot points is like, is Dane Cook gonna be able to fuck a 17-year-old? Like it's, I mean, I think the culture has changed on that a lot, but also, yeah, no, it's these people keep secrets about each other too.
Yeah.
I think like the worst part about that, like that DM was sensually. Like just say sexually. Like sensually is like the most disgusting way you can put it. It's just you just know that like if you are going to have sex with this guy for like an internship, he's going to incorporate like a feather during that sex session at some point.
Again, though, where are
like
the gay
not
scammers?
sensual.
Where were the gay scammers? How does he not end up like, found tied up somewhere,
I mean, maybe none of them are Republicans.
Yeah,
maybe none of the gay scammers are Republicans. They're like apolitical or like whatever. But I like how John Weaver blocked me on an old account because I sent him articles I wrote about John Kasich. But I like that he uses, speaking of catfish, he uses a picture of himself literally from 21 years ago in his profile picture.
Yeah, that rocks. He's on like some pedophile plane, right? With John McCain.
John McCain. Yeah. Yep. And now it's like he's like tripled in width. And it's like, yeah, when you said sensual, it's like I imagined him just like having like trying to make some like 19-year-old smooth heritage boy just like drip wax on his naked asshole while he's still wearing his parka. Because he
some Lady G
will
shit.
notice he got fat if he just keeps wearing that forever.
I just like picturing like high-end Patagonia fleece handcuffs and things like that.
I just want to share a special detail from this is that one of the young men in question, I swear to God, his name is Cole Trickle.
Yeah.
His name is Cole Trickle.
Getting some trickle down economics all over Cole.
And it says here, in June 2018, Mr. Weaver asked, "Are you in high school still?" Referring to high school.
No.
Sorry. Are you in HS still? Referring to high school. And Mr. Trickle said that he was, and that he would be 18 the next spring. "You look older," Mr. Weaver replied. "You've gotten taller.
You're looking
in
so
March
17. You've grown up so quickly. I can't believe you look 17 already."
It's like he wanted to get caught.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
In March 2020, when Mr. Trickle was 18, Mr. Weaver wrote, "I want to come to Vegas and take you to dinner and drinks and spoil you." In a follow-up message, used a term that in sexual banter refers to one's body. "Hey, my boy, resend me your stats, or I can guess if that is easier or more fun." Hey, boy. Hey, boy, send me your stats.
No, my boy is
Hey, sweetie, send me your measurements. Let me see your molars.
God.
My boy is very kind of we're on our way now, Ducky. Like it's very like old rich.
It's like old school pederast stuff. I mean, this guy, you can definitely tell, like, if he wasn't closeted, he would be one of those old gay guys who just has like 9 spiral staircases in his house. That's what they stole from him. That's what they stole from him by making him be in the closet and so repressed. He needed to join the Lincoln Grooming Project. I mean, Max, like, I'm sure you're familiar with like old gay guys like with this on Grindr. Like, they will like desperately like message you and then try to like imbue this like youthful enthusiasm and everything, and they'll just be like
lots of DMs at like 3 a.m. like, hey,
what's
like,
up? Hey there,
hey,
your hair's so cool. Are you a versatile? hey there, how are you? I stan music. Yeah.
Yes.
and then it's like, and then you don't respond to them. You don't respond to them.
And then they get pissed.
Before they get pissed, that's always the ultimate thing, is that they get pissed. But before they get pissed, they just send like 10 hole pics that they took in a spree. And it's like every single one is like slightly different. It's like, you're not like, I know this was taken in like 30 seconds and you've decided to send me every single fucking one of them. But then when you don't respond, they're like, you'll never be nothing. I tried to help you. I tried to save you. And now you're going to die alone. You're going to be poor. It's like, that's literally how these guys, how they treat like younger guys. And I mean, God bless Cole Trickle. Thank God he made it out of that alive.
God bless Cole Tickle.
I feel like if they were British, they would just have been a boys' school headmaster. Like that's the kind of like place for them in society.
I sort of had this happen to me. Like,
join the fucking club, dog.
I remember this.
Yeah, no, it was when I first moved in with Amber, and like I was walking. I would just like do odd jobs before like Carl Diggler and shit. And I was like walking my brother's friend's dog, like as an odd job. And I was like walking her around like our old neighborhood in Bed-Stuy. And this like, you know, those like older white guys where like their tits are like blisters kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, like one of those, but like, yeah, like the bad like.
You talking like Barney Frank?
Yeah, no, Barney Frank. Those tits are like.
Barney Frank's
those are
nipples
jumbo
and
yum
titties. Yeah.
Those are jumblies.
They're like they're like a gorilla, like when a silverback gets fat in a zoo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do stuff to make their nipples like that. It's a whole YouTube thing.
Yes,
but and
it's disgusting.
I was so innocent. I was like basically like in the Welcome to the Jungle video when Axl Rose gets off the bus and he's chewing a fresh piece of hay.
Felix just arrived in New York. Gosh, I've never seen a building this tall before.
It's like, and this guy was like, "Hey, is this your dog?" I was like, "No, it's just my friend's dog. I'm walking her."
This dog. Wow, it's so crazy. You have this dog. This dog is only owned by straight guys who want to fuck gay guys. That's so crazy.
That's what it was like. He was like, he was just talking to me for like 10 minutes. I was like, "Gosh, this guy's friendly." And then he was basically like, after like 20 minutes of conversation, he's like, "Must be so great to be young and fucking this day."
Felix a little ingenue with a little Bo Peep dress.
And then
golly, mister.
I don't know why.
Felix is wearing his finest and1 shorts to walk the dog in the beautiful big city of New York.
He's got a big lollipop.
That's what I just probably looked like a target to him.
Yeah.
And like, this was so stupid. Like 5 minutes into the conversation, he was like, "Let me get your phone number." And I was like, "Gosh, maybe he has a job for me." And sure enough, he texted me over the course of 2 weeks being like, "What if you come over and you let me blow you?"
It's a living.
Did you just block his number? How'd you get out of that one?
I was like, "Thank you, but I am not interested." He just eventually stopped.
If you guys thought Cole Trickle was the funniest name in this saga, you'd be wrong. I'm just going to read another paragraph. Last year, when Cody Braultz, say that name again, Cody Braultz.
Come on,
Cody
man.
Braultz was a recent college graduate looking for a job in politics. He replied to one of Mr. Weaver's tweets, and to his surprise, received a direct message from him. After Mr. Weaver said he traveled to Chicago sometimes, they discussed meeting to talk politics. At one point, Mr. Weaver asked what Mr. Braultz did in his free time. When Mr. Braultz said he ran marathons, Mr. Weaver replied, "At least I know that whatever we end up doing, you can do it multiple times in a row," with a winking emoticon.
God.
That's so disgusting. That's so disgusting. But you know what? I was thinking like, because like the tone of all like the foundations and like all these like political Twitter accounts are the same. It's a kind of like, you know, like epic clapback thing. I used to laugh at the idea that there was just like one twink who ran all of the DC Democratic Twitter accounts. Like Hillary overheard some gay say like epic slay in 2016 and was immediately like, "We need this person." And like, since he's just been trafficked to like post AAVE like up and down K Street. But you know, really what has happened probably is that Weaver was just like stealing the tweet formats from the 17-year-olds he was following.
Yeah, can you imagine what more what more treacherous thing could you do after sex than steal someone's tweets? You know, it's just so underhanded
betrayal.
and nasty. Yeah,
That was always the thing. Like with the Lincoln Project, like it really just conceptually and in practice, the idea of like 65-year-old guys,
calling people
like
Karens.
yeah, exactly. These 65-year-old guys who like started like a Murder the Dixie Chicks ad campaign 20 years ago, like now are like calling Jennifer Rubin Hunty.
The other guy who worked on vote for Cuomo, not the homo.
Yeah. Just guys who like did robocalls that were like, yeah, Jim Jeffords, what would you think if he if you knew that he had a illegitimate daughter who was fat? Now they're like, no, it's just like, yes, Ana Navarro, my hot Cheetos queen.
They're like
yes.
literally quoting like Lizzo lyrics.
Yeah. It's one of the grossest things that's ever happened. That's before I knew anything about the grooming.
Well, Felix, there's an interesting element to this is that Weaver was both McCain but also John Kasich, and this takes me back to like pre-Chapo era, like right before we started doing the show, like the saga of you, Virgil, and Nick going to the New Hampshire primaries and going to the Kasich event. This puts a new light on the smooth Kasich boy. Do you think he was being trafficked?
Holy shit! I forgot about that.
Wait, what?
Okay. So
long time listeners of the show.
We were in New Hampshire, and like we couldn't get into any Trump events there at capacity. We got banned from Rubio because we were being mischievous. We kept saying that we were finding Marco's illegitimate children in secret family, and his staffers overheard us. I think we did one thing with Ted Cruz, but it was like Kasich. You could always get in because his staff was worked by like these really nice moms who were like, "Oh, you work for a site called Cafe? I love coffee." Like, that's literally what they said. It's so easy to get in. They would never Google us or anything. Yeah. Like, look at her. Yeah, because like my timeline in like 2015 was always like, John Che, you should fucking kill yourself, you piece of shit.
Back when the site was good.
Yeah, when you couldn't get banned for that. And so we got in there, and like Kasich just did a bizarre rambling speech. It was like, he was the blueprint for what Joe Biden is now, because he was like, he got up there and he's like, I'll tell you what, my wife's coming to town tomorrow, so I'm getting my leg presses in now. So you know what I'm going to do. And it was like,
what, kick
what?
her?
Like, how do you, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, what people thought that Joe Biden was going to do, like, first thing in the White House, like, just cream up Dr. Jill Biden's pussy, like, there's no like, that's what John Kasich was going to do on January 22nd, 2021, or 2017. Just, like, completely just slam his fupa into her taint until, like, her toes curled.
So like, I mean, his wife is kind of the MILF, but like so like we were just like completely like depersonalizing because of his weird rambling speech. And then we noticed there was a boy in like,
no,
and I mean boy. Like,
no,
probably like
no, he was over there just like blinking Morse code, help me.
He's like 14, and he was wearing like all like dry fit Under Armour everything with Kasich bumper stickers stuck on him. And we were like, what the?
That's literally how they mark. That's how they mark their territory.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, if you see zip ties on a passenger mirror, that means like you've been spotted for trafficking. And if you see a boy who's been mummified in John Kasich bumper stickers, this is just been popped out of a shipping container.
That's right.
It was so weird that I think we put it in the article and we've talked about it, but it's like after that, like I think my brain was like, no, you got to get rid of this one. This is too fucked up to think about.
Yeah, well, it's like when I like during the primary and before I worked for Bernie, I was waiting tables in Des Moines. I was working at this one cafe that like was like millennial, like exposed brick wall, like one succulent gay ass cafe, that kind of thing. But it was really good for photo ops, so all of the campaigns would go there, and Cory Booker especially would frequent it. And his staff, I'm not even kidding, exclusively like theater twunks. Like, so it looked like he went to a Carly Rae Jepsen concert and just offered everyone a job. And they were so clearly gay. Like, they would come in and I would be like, okay, we have 12 salmon salads, like ready to go. He's the next. I think he's the next one to come out. That's what I need to invest in now that I'm stock brain. I need to invest in Cory Booker text being leaked.
This is my question though. Why won't he? It's like to the point where it would only be good for his career.
Literally.
I don't get it.
I know.
Well, he had the best beard of all of them. He had Rosario Dawson. Who was honestly,
right?
as far as beards go,
all
top
of his
tier.
beards, all of his beards have been like the hottest women.
Yeah.
Like
but like with Rosario Dawson, when that started, I was like, oh yeah, that's a couple where they're both heterosexuals for show. And like I remember
look
like
at the lust in his eyes.
Yeah, some asshole reporter clearly knew what he was doing in Iowa. Was like, so you'd be the first person in a while who isn't married. How about that, Senator Booker? and Booker was like, yeah, but that means that we'll have a wedding in the White House. Isn't that exciting? And I'm like, that's what it is.
I can't wait to look at flower arrangements.
This is the first time a president's going to be showing up to his wedding in a pumpkin carriage in front of the White House.
I mean, I always wanted beach, but I can work with this. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, it gave me echoes to the Benny Johnson Wes Anderson themed.
Oh no! No, fuck you,
forgot
dude.
about that.
You blotted the Smooth Kasich boy out of your memory. The fucking Benny Johnson wedding, Wes Anderson wedding video is. Oh my god, that's intense sanity damage.
You ever want to look at something to like cleanse my timeline out of your eyes, listener? Google Benny Johnson wedding announcement video. And that will make you want to go back and look at 10,000 other men's anuses on my God.
Well, I mean, it made sense because they did kill an animal at the wedding.
Yeah,
Wes Anderson loves killing animals.
Did you guys see the statement from the Lincoln Project? It was so insanely melodramatic. It was like I have it here. John Weaver led a secret life that was built on the foundation of deception at every level. He is a predator, a liar, and an abuser. We extend our deepest sympathies. And then they
Ben, the good thing about that is he's just describing John Weaver's job.
Yeah, they're
being a
literally
liar, a predator, and an abuser.
This
That's
like
not his personal life. That's
it's like a mission statement of the Lincoln Project. The totality of his deceptions are beyond anything any of us could have imagined. We are absolutely shocked and sick. And it's like, okay, you're protesting way too hard. You all knew that this was happening. You just needed to get your ducks in a row so you could start like your podcast or your documentary about the Trump administration so you could jump ship like rats.
Absolutely. Like, it's like these guys all worked together and like worked in the same circles for literally like 50 years.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't
You're
know.
You're telling me Weaver never cupped your balls after a few drinks one time? Like, come on. Like, it absolutely happened.
Ben, the other cool thing though is like in seeing the news coverage of this, like I've just been like checking replies like the New York Times, and they're like, oh wow, going after the Lincoln Project, canceling my subscription from like Blue Wave, Maggie, hashtag resistance, and they're all convinced that this is like once again it's Russia. They're at it again. They're seeding twinks everywhere in the country and like making Jeff Weaver message them. They're seating attractive young men named Cole Sprockets who are interested in politics and looking for a job. And, you know, John Weaver just had to fucking...
Jeff Weaver's sus too, but for different reasons.
There was... George Conway was on Morning Joe, and Misha Brzezinski just like flat out asked him, she's like, did you know about this? And he was like, yeah, it sounds really bad. I only talked to him like twice. You know, I'm literally speechless.
He doesn't even know that his daughter, like his wife, is beating his fucking daughter in the house. You know,
that's what he's gonna say.
Like, Kellyanne is wailing on her fucking daughter, and this motherfucker is just like tweeting about how like, oh yeah, Trump is kind of sus for having that.
No, that's what he's gonna say about Claudia. He's like, yeah, I've only really like, I don't know, I've only talked to her twice. You know, I'm really I'm really shocked by these revelations. In fact, I am speechless. I'm so speechless. I'm giving no comment.
There's audio of like Claudia like abusing the shit out of their daughter, and George like, you know, after 40 tweets where he's like, it must be hard to sign a press release with small hands, is like, Hey, like he made a tweet there. It's like, hey guys, I know a lot of people think that my wife is psychopathically abusing my daughter and trying to make her kill herself, but actually this is a private matter. And all those shitty like resistance parody accounts that are like, you know, based on one event that happened 3 years ago, where it's like, oh, Lindsey Graham Sharpie. we're like, wow, love to you and your family, George. And like,
your daughter's a lying
bitch. I'm a total, by the way, Claudia truther. I think the only person more like toxic in that family than Kellyanne is Claudia. I think anyone who like there's all this like people who do not understand the hot 16-year-old girl, formerly hot-ish mom conflict.
Yeah.
Will never know. But one of them is going to kill the other, and my money's on Claudia. And she will kill again. Mark my words. Claudia is making bombs in her room right now. Just wait for it.